media greatly impacts how the public understands and perceives those who are affected by mental illness. Many people are uninformed on the topic of mental illness, and their only source of information about mental illness is the mass media. This gives the media great influence over public opinion. One example of this is how the media impacts the public's understanding of schizophrenics. More specifically, the word schizophrenia comes from the Greek roots schizon, meaning to split, and phren, meaning mind. The Greeks had a limited understanding of this complex disorder and believed it was related to hysteria and loss of autonomy. This poor understanding of the disorder has led to an even greater misunderstanding of schizophrenia in our modern society through the media's metaphorical use of the word schizophrenia. The media uses the word schizophrenia as a metaphor for constantly changing and unpredictable behavior, despite the fact that shifting behavior is not a symptom of schizophrenia. Those who suffer from schizophrenia may hear voices in their heads and believe that others are controlling their thoughts and are plotting to harm them, which is drastically different, I would argue, than what the public believes. The use of schizophrenia as a metaphor in the mass media further perpetuates the false association between violence and schizophrenia. During the 1990s, many major newspapers, such as the Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, and the Washington Post, utilized the term schizophrenic when describing events and people that were unpredictable, which impacted how the public understood the disorder. In a 2003 study of major publications that use schizophrenia as a metaphor, Duckworth et al. Cites articles in the Houston Chronicle and the Chicago Tribune as evidence of this metaphorical use. The Houston Chronicle states, "The weather turns schizophrenic. 81 degrees one weekend, sleet the next." The Chicago Tribune wrote, "The stock market's acting schizophrenic." These newspapers employ the term schizophrenia to describe drastically changing behaviors without reason. This metaphorical use of schizophrenia leads the public to believe that schizophrenics are unpredictable, just like the weather and the stock market. This unpredictability and belief in multiple personalities present in schizophrenics is the link between schizophrenia and violence, even though there is no biological basis for this belief. This idea of erratic and abnormal mannerisms misrepresents patients suffering from schizophrenia, leading the public to believe that they are dangerous and violent. The public continues to stigmatize schizophrenics as violent, despite the fact that research conducted in this area has not found a significant link between schizophrenia and an increased risk of violence. Additionally, many mass shootings in recent years have been erroneously linked to mental illness, and more specifically, schizophrenia. In fact, the President's New Freedom Commission on Mental Health reported that 61% of Americans associate schizophrenia with behavior that is dangerous to others. The fact that the majority of the population believes schizophrenia is a strong predictor of violence, despite the complete lack of evidence in scientific research, is a testament to the highly persuasive power of the mass media. While a few tragedies do have affiliations with schizophrenia, for instance, Jared Lee Loughner, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia after he killed 6 people and injured 13, including Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford, many connections between violence and schizophrenia are simply fabrications by the media. For example, after James Holmes opened fire in a crowded Aurora, Colorado movie theater in 2012, killing 12 and injuring 58, the media insisted on reporting that he had been seeing a psychiatrist that specialized in schizophrenia, and therefore the disorder was related to his violence, despite the fact that Holmes showed no visual symptoms of the illness. The gross misunderstanding of schizophrenia and the resulting stigmatization of patients by the public will continue as long as the mass media continues to sensationalize the connection between the disorder and violence. The metaphorical use of schizophrenia to explain random and eccentric behavior furthers the misunderstanding of the disorder and contributes to the false belief that schizophrenics are inherently violent.